Hi everyone, today Kevin and I will be introducing behavioral economics.
Throughout the year in both micro and macro, we have assumed that consumers are rational and that they wish to maximize their satisfaction or utility from consumption. Likewise, producers and firms also wish to maximize profits. Even though we work off of that assumption, people are irrational, have limited cognitive abilities, and also have a great deal of trouble exercising self-control. So even if one decision is a lot smarter and makes more sense in the long run, they are much more likely to choose the option that has the greatest immediate appeal. So that can be drugs or overeating or buying things you don't need.
And as Daniel Kahneman put this, it seems that traditional economics and behavioral economics are describing two different species. So traditional economics works off of the assumption that humans will properly weigh the costs and benefits of each decision and make the choice that is in their best interest. Behavioral economics acknowledges that human decision-making is full of anomalies. This means that it doesn't blow up traditional economic theory, however, it just seeks to understand when and why people behave differently than economic models suggest. Basically, it adds a layer of complexity.
These discoveries and kind of realizations of behavioral economics can be used by policymakers to restructure environments to facilitate better choices. For example, children can be encouraged to buy more nutritious foods at schools by placing fruit at eye level, moving soda machines into more distant areas, or requiring students to pay extra for sugary snacks. These sorts of policies can be implemented by larger firms as well. McDonald's actually had an old policy of asking people if they wanted to supersize their order, which often led people to do so. However, research by Janet Schwartz and her colleagues found that when customers in a Chinese restaurant are asked if they want to downsize their portions, they usually do. The percentage of customers who did so in their field experience, 14 to 33% of them, ate 200 less calories on average.
Sometimes people's preferences are also dependent on how the options are presented, and this is called the framing effect. This is sort of similar to the glass half full versus half empty effect. For example, if there was a yogurt that said contains 20% fat and another yogurt that says contains 80% fat-free, then the consumer is more likely to think the 80% fat-free is more favorable. Okay, so if you were in your workplace, and would you feel better getting or stealing $10 in cash or a stapler that's worth $10? Which would you feel more guilty?
Which would I feel more guilty for? I'd feel more guilty for the $10 because it's up to my decision how to use that. So a $10 for someone else could be one meal, whereas $10 for me could be buying a pair of socks or something. Depending on the person, that $10, the significance of those $10 can mean different things. Yeah.
I agree with that as well, but also in my mind, staplers I don't really think of them as insanely valuable. So I also feel that would make me feel better, and being able to see physical money also would make me feel worse, I think.
So if you're in your workplace, and would you feel more guilty for stealing $10 in cash or a stapler that's worth $10?
Probably the $10 in cash. Yeah, because the stapler I could always bring back.
Probably $10 in cash. Feel guilty stealing the $10.
Do you have reasoning for that?
Because $10 is a real value, but a stapler, you don't really realize the price or the cost of that when you take it. Yeah.
All in all, lessons from behavioral economics can help firms and individuals better understand why they make the choices that they do and nudge them towards the choices that are in everyone's best interest.